for a little while I was in the hospital a few weeks ago. And then we were absent a good deal of last week because we had quite an interesting trip, which I will tell you about very shortly. But first, let's begin, as I promised the people on the Rudy Giuliani show on Lindell TV with New Jersey and what's going on there. This is really a disgrace, and it's the product of Mickey Mouse Governor, Mickey Mouse Cheryl, who is an anti-American, anti-New Jersey, anti-everything governor that you people of New Jersey elected, like you people of New York elected Mondani Donnie. And it's all this ridiculous brainwashing about ICE, that ICE is some kind of a horrible group of whatever, Nazis. I mean, the only Nazi we really know is the guy Plattner, who's running in Maine, who has a big Nazi thing on his chest, that he's running as a candidate of Mickey Wicky Cheryl's party. And they acted like Nazis and fascists during the Biden administration, certainly with me, in raiding my office and raiding my law office and putting people in shackles, and what they did with I was with a group of January 6 people on Saturday night. Not a single one of them had committed a violent crime. And they all went to a jail, which they described as filled with rats and with prison guards being vicious and nasty to them. I mean, this party is a party that, it's really simple. If you want to know how bad they are, listen to what they say about Republicans, okay? That's how bad they are. Because they project, and they project what they are. So when they've been calling us Nazis for years, we didn't know they had like a guy with a thing over here that isn't just Nazi. It's the symbol of the Nazi SS troopers who executed people, who put them in the gas chamber. Tattoo? Yeah. That's the group that killed all the Jewish people. Well, he makes it clear on his Reddit, 30,000 posts on Reddit, this maniac, that he hates Jewish people. Well, in New Jersey, we have a guy, I don't know if I have his name right, Nicholas Gilfo. So Nicholas is on video. And this is very unfortunate for Nicholas that he's on video, but very fortunate for us, because Nicholas now, at least for a little while, is where he belongs, in jail. This is what these anti-ICE protests are about. They are professional, they're nihilist, they're anti-American, they're supported by money that also supports Islamic terrorists and communists. And they're supported by money that helps support the 2020 riots that went unhindered, really. Even afterwards, all of them were set free by Soros prosecutors. And then they tried to make January 6th, something that was really orchestrated by Nancy Pelosi and Antifa, into the same thing as the 2020 riots. But nothing's burning on January 6th. Yeah, and the people getting killed are us. Those people getting killed, Ashley Babbitt. Well, this is what's going on in New Jersey at the Delaney Detention Center. The whole effing, your children, your wife, all dead. I have your face, mother. You're dead. Dead.
You're dead. Your children, your wife, your whole family.
Well, he's in jail now. Hopefully, he's not going to get in front of a judge appointed by Obama or Biden, because there are a few real judges appointed by Obama and Biden. But in most cases, they're political hacks of the worst kind that have no conception of what it means to be an Article III judge, the honor and the importance of it and the responsibilities of it. The Democratic Party has become evil. That's part of it right there.
So this individual stabbed an ICE agent in the arm.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't he? I mean, ICE agents are Nazis. ICE agents are fascists. I'm just repeating what Democrats say. Elected Democrats. ICE should be abolished. All ICE is doing is removing from our communities people who want to rape our daughters and our wives and our women, people who want to kill us and are doing it. That's what they're doing. And this little punk, wish it was a police department of about 75 years ago, he wouldn't look like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm not supposed to believe that. I don't believe that. I believe he should be given due process and then put away for the rest of his life. Guy should never be let out again. Who knows? He may carry through on one of those threats. Aren't these the people that attempted to kill Trump and to kill Charlie Kirk? And isn't the kind of the crazy things they said? So maybe if we stick them away forever, they won't kill anybody. Pretty good instincts. I don't even know how old he is. He looks like some kind of a sissy boy anyway.
He was arrested. This is the type of people that they have out there.
They arrested 61 people, but he was the main one, right?
Right. But he's been arrested previously.
Were these federal arrests? Or tell me they were federal arrests and not state arrests. If they were state arrests, I mean, the chances that this guy's out again in a couple of days are in crooked New Jersey. My God.
We'll find out.
The place where every mayor was in jail at one time.
We'll find out who arrested him and get that to you, Mayor.
Well, basically, the response of the New Jersey Democrats to all of this is to praise the illegal aliens who are sitting inside the detention center, who apparently aren't getting enough visits. Well, first of all, they're not getting enough visits because they don't belong here. They probably don't know anybody. Second, nobody wants to visit them because they'll get caught for being illegal too. Did you ever think of that? The whole family is probably illegal, and it's probably living off your money. How many do you think work? That's the old immigrants. This group doesn't work. Like the Somalis work why do they work? They're multimillionaires. They don't have to pay for anything. They get welfare. They get free education. They get extra food.
They usurp.
And you pay for it. They throw American homeless out of their shelters and take over the better ones. And they put out contracts 2 to 3 times more than it costs so that the politicians can whack up the graft money that goes along with homelessness and illegal immigration, which is exactly what you're uncovering in Minneapolis. But do not think it is only in Minneapolis. So the Democrats love this. Plus, they're going to try really hard to get them to vote, even though they're not citizens. What in what universe does anybody think a non-citizen should vote? It's a country.
Yeah.
It's not like just a floating place.
It's kind of a simple concept.
It's a country with shared values that are strong enough to die for. What do these guys die for? To steal money from you. For drugs. They'll die for drugs. They'll die to rape you.
Crazy.
What are we doing to America? We're voting for Democrats. That's what we're doing. Look what Biden did to us. And now, and all these people upset with Trump. He's the only hope that we have. He's it. So do we have some video from the governor on this, from Governor Mickey Wiki Sherrill?
Yep, we have the governor, of course.
What would Trump say? Mickey Low IQ Sherrill?
Yeah, what would he? We'll find out. I'm sure she's.
Oh, yeah.
For her.
What was her background?
So Mickey Sherrill, we'll put this up.
Military, I believe.
Is she the one who cheated at the Naval Academy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
She's a former federal prosecutor.
And a established cheat.
And an established. That's right. So we're gonna play. This is.
She didn't graduate with a class because she cheated at the Naval Academy.
And this is her.
And first said, I wasn't able to graduate because I didn't give up my classmates. So she wasn't a rat, which of course is against the code of the academy, right? Then she said she did. She just told them everything, which means she was a rat. So she's either a rat or not a rat. We're not sure of that, but we do know she's a cheat.
And she's a supporter of these protesters threatening ICE members.
Over the last couple of days, a lot of peaceful protests. We've seen that over the last couple of days, a lot of peaceful protesting going on, which we're going to continue to support, making sure that people are safe and there's public safety, but going forward, it's peaceful. And what seems to really be inciting a lot of this are really the ICE agents. So the ICE agents really need to stay out of there. That seems to really be inciting a lot of this right now. We've seen that over the last couple of days.
That's as honest as when she cheated at the Naval Academy. You shouldn't have been allowed in the Navy. You're a disgrace, Cheryl. You were a disgrace as a cadet. You stunk up the Naval Academy. The Naval Academy choices that it made with your class was so bad that it's still recovering. They had so many cheats in that class that they had to graduate them. They kept you out for 9 months because you're a liar and a cheat. And the people of New Jersey made you their governor. And the only reason I can't get angry are the people in New York created a mayor that's even worse than you are. But to blame it on ICE, that's why the man got stabbed, you idiot. That's why that Guilfoyle, whatever the hell his name is, that's why that little jackass was doing that. Because of Democrats like you encouraging him. Yeah, ICE agents are Nazis. Like hell they are. You're the Nazis. I know it from personal experience that you're Nazis. What the hell are you running up in Maine? But a guy with a Nazi tattoo.
They're trying to destroy the country.
Of course they're trying to destroy the country. Of course they are. They're against America because they're either communists or they're admirers of Islamic terrorism, or they're just nihilists and they want control. They really want money. It's really about money. Do you have any idea how corrupt the Democrat Party really is? Do you have any idea? No, you don't. You actually don't. You don't have any idea. Nick Sorter got behind enemy lines there. And he says that these people are very well equipped. They're very well financed. They have a lot of electronic equipment. They have weapons. They have incendiaries. They've got all kinds of stuff they can use. 61 arrests were made, and only a handful come from New Jersey. At one point, they said nobody did. Now it's a few. That means they're being shipped in. Professionals, just like in Minnesota, with the poor guys that are being blamed for killing that woman who ran into the ICE agent and tried to kill him, or killing that other guy who was part of a setup trying to get people to go free. And we have video of him attacking just a couple of days before. He's the guy that decides to go and disrupt and obstruct arrest carrying a gun. And they're responsible for his death. They were trained professionals. The guy who got killed was involved in a process that they use to try, and they call it de-arresting, and it's online. And he was following every step of de-arresting. But the crooked media will not tell you that. He caused his own death. It wasn't caused by ICE, it was caused by him. Just like these riots are caused by them. There's no reason for this. These people are in that detention center because they are illegally against the law in the United States of America. And if all of them aren't criminals, I'm sorry. Enough of them are, so it's very hard to tell the difference. And since we have a right to deport them, whether they're criminals or not, then let's err on the side of being careful for Americans. Not for them, for Americans who are here legally, lawfully, want to obey the law, want to celebrate the 4th of July, want to love America. They're the ones that need protection, not those people inside that detention center who made a mockery of our laws to come here. And are going to make a mockery of our country if they're allowed to stay here. And that's who the cheat from what would you expect a person who cheated as a cadet to do? What kind of governor or congresswoman do you think she is?
Bingo.
If you cheated at West Point or the Naval Academy in any day but now, you would never get to wear the uniform of the United States of America. She is a disgrace, starting with her career, the beginning of her career. And New Jersey is a disgrace for having voted for her. You must be ashamed of yourself.
That's right.
So now, my goodness, tomorrow is the mayor's race, correct?
Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. We were talking about that on the other show. And Karen, who cannot fill a fire hydrant, Bass, apparently is slightly in the lead. Maybe not. Then they have another maniac running, like all the rest of the Democrats, Naithia, whatever that is, Rahman. And then they have Spencer Pratt. Spencer Pratt is the only one who seems to have any common sense of any kind. But the other two, in some of the polls, are ahead of him. In one poll, he's ahead. So I guess we're going to have to sit it out tomorrow night and find out who is going to win this.
That's right. So the Berkeley Institute LA Times poll, which is kind of one that's closely watched out there. I know a lot of our viewers probably have the similar feeling as we do towards the LA Times and anything related to Berkeley. But this poll, which was taken May 19th to the 24th, with a 3-point margin of error, has Karen Bass leading, but basically within that margin. The three of them are
See, I would vote for the one who promised me that they would fill up the fire hydrants.
Seems like a no-brainer. And that would be Spencer Pratt. And
Spencer is going to fill up okay, Spencer, I'm with you, babes. I don't want my firefighters showing up there and holding their you-know-what's in their hand without any water. That's how they get killed.
Well, we'll show this other poll. This one is Spencer.
And if you were a mayor, you would know what firefighters needed. But Bass is not a mayor. She's a make-believe mayor.
This is from John McLaughlin, a friend of ours, great pollster.
Well, that's 30-29 is even.
Yeah.
That's well within the margin of error.
So this has, but going back to that other poll, they're very similar, right? When you
the only good news about that is the runoff will include Pratt.
Right.
And maybe at some point the people of Los Angeles will become smarter than the people of New York or New Jersey.
And that is the goal. If you hear the Spencer Pratt campaign, which it really is Spencer, he does have people on board now. But I talked to some folks, Mayor, ahead of the show, and they tell me they're confident he can get to the runoff, and that's kind of their goal. And that,
yeah, it looks like an even chance, but the polls are so close, anything could happen. You look at that one there. Who knows? That could just flip around too.
Right, like you said, and you take into account the margin of error. This was done.
That's over 70-something% undecided. That's over 30% undecided.
Right, and you got to think that plays well for Spencer.
And the thing that's strange about it is that there's been early voting. I don't know how that went.
Right, and what we want to know is,
I'm surprised that Rahman is doing so well because she's really unknown.
right.
It has to be taken from Bass, I would think.
That's a good point, and it's probably taken from Bass, the people that won't get on board with Spencer, because
That's going to decide the election, by the way. What happens with the undecided, which is substantial, The undecided might not show up in this election, but they may show up in the general election.
So here's the full polling. Actually, this one has a couple other candidates where they show you the full poll numbers. Ray Chen Hung, is that a Vietnamese name or Korean name?
I assume the other two are Democrats also.
And then Adam Miller. So it'll be interesting, right?
But it's only 10% that are undecided. I didn't realize there were two other candidates.
Yeah, the original one didn't show the other two, but I mean, 9%, that's not nothing. So it'll be interesting to see.
So it's 24% that will go into the general election undecided, and then assume another 20, and then the group that voted for the third candidate.
Right. And that's the question, right? The Ramen voters, for example, and the Bass voters.
If it ends up being Bass Ramen's going to win.
So
If I'm looking at that.
is Pratt.
If you're a Democrat and you're not voting for Bass, and you get Ramen as a choice, right?
Right.
So the Pratt people are either going to stay home or they're going to vote against Bass, I bet.
Well, what happens if it's Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt? Do the Ramen voters come home and go to Bass? Right.
It really depends on why they're not voting for Bass, right?
Right. And the question is, Spencer Pratt.
Pratt would have a chance. He would have a chance.
He does. Does he have? So I guess a lot of voters don't think that.
If an incumbent mayor can only do 26%, it's possible she can't do 50.
But with all the noise Pratt is making, my question to you, Mayor.
I think Ramen or Pratt, Ramen for sure,
Will be there.
if she ends up second to Bass,
My
will
question-
beat Bass. And Pratt, I would give a slightly better than even chance of winning, because I think Karen Bass add another 10 points to her vote, but that's probably her ceiling. Remember, she's the incumbent mayor.
Right. But
An incumbent mayor who can't hit in a 3, 4, 5-way race 40% just isn't going to win.
But my question is, Spencer Pratt's making all this noise nationally. I guess we have to see how that played out locally in the media market. But if Pratt can't get the non-Bass voters now, right? Will he get them when everyone else that the people could vote for are gone?
Yeah, yes, that's what often happens. I mean, more often, this is like elections that take place in South America. They often have these runoff elections. They have one in Colombia now, and the right-wing candidate came out first, and their final election will be in May. But number two usually wins.
Right.
Number two usually collects most of the votes that are below 2.
That didn't go
They're either not going to vote or they're not going to go to 1,
right.
particularly if 1 is the incumbent.
The question is,
And the further away 1 is from 50%,
right.
the better that chance. She's far away from 50%.
And Bass would really need to tie Spencer Pratt to the Republican Party, to President Trump, right? Because a lot of these voters are probably Democrat voters.
Yeah, well, that's what she'll do. That's what she'll do. And he should go around, just do one promise. I'm going to fill the fire hydrants.
Look.
And I'm not. I promise. I won't be absent when we have the next earthquake. But she won't be here. You know that.
Would you be willing to talk to Spencer if he gets through this tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anything to keep those two nuts out. Her. I mean, but it may not be her. It could be Ramen and Pratt.
And I bet Pratt is really hoping Bass.
Because I don't know what. Even 30%, that's a very, very dangerously low number for an incumbent mayor. People seeing that below her. And let's assume the Bass people are definitely against her, right? But the Ramen people probably would have voted for her if she weren't such a terrible mayor, right?
Hey, Mayor, we have
What's that?
This is downtown Los Angeles today.
Oh, well, that's downtown Los Angeles every day for years.
Well, how on earth can you
That's
vote
downtown democratic America.
if you're a citizen of the city of Los Angeles? How on earth?
I mean, that's been downtown Democrat America since 2020.
How bad?
I don't know. I really don't know what's wrong with our people. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not an expert on the power of brainwashing, but I do know that a lot of it is brainwashing. A lot of it is left-wing socialist communist brainwashing. A lot of it is Islamic extremist brainwashing. And as somebody pointed out, the real problem here goes back to the schools. It goes back to the infiltration of the communists in the teachers' union, in the academic, in higher academia. And for 50 years, the whole teaching curriculum has been socialist, communist, and decidedly anti-American. American history has been destroyed, rewritten as a fiction of Karl Marx or of Muhammad.
It's a fine-tooth science that they engage in with.
Yeah, they're trying to destroy Western civilization. So when you come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my trip, talking about Western civilization in my attempt to see what I could do to put it back together again. So let's take a break, and we will be right back with America's Mayor Live. Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. Tomorrow we'll be following the Los Angeles mayor's race, so we'll get you the results. Although I guess they'll be a little bit late because they're 3 hours behind us. By the way, I didn't tell you that right now I am in White Plains, New York, and we'll be here again, and then we'll be traveling. Now let me tell you where I went. Let me tell you where I went last week and why I was hiding. I wasn't really hiding. The time zones were so screwed up. We had to mostly play prior things, and Ted did a great job of getting them on for us and keeping them relevant. But first, I went to Rome really as a stopover to go to Sofia, Bulgaria. But it gave me a chance to catch up with some of my friends in Rome, including the ambassador to the Vatican. It gave me a chance to catch up with my roots, get a little of that there. And it gave me a chance to go to Mass in the Vatican, which is a heck of an experience for a Roman Catholic to be there where St. Peter is buried, particularly after my experience with St. Peter of 2 weeks earlier, which I still haven't told you about, but I am when I'm ready to do so. I've told certain people, and I've recorded it with my son. It was quite an experience. I did get the last rites at that point, so I felt pretty good going into the Vatican alive, having gotten the last rites and having done a full and complete confession. That took about 35 hours, and no, it didn't. Took a while though, and it was just beautiful to see the center of Western civilization, Rome, except for maybe the last place I ended up, which I'm going to tell you in a moment. So then this really was a stopover because early the next morning we flew to Sofia, Bulgaria, where I conducted a group of meetings and giving them sort of advice on leadership and advice on economics and advice on business. I also, of course, got to meet the ministers of the government. And then this second day was joined by the, oh my goodness, what an ambassador Kimberly Guilfoyle is. She's the ambassador of the United States to Greece, but there is no ambassador, appointed ambassador in Bulgaria. So she spends a great deal of time there, and she spends a great deal of time in Serbia, and she spends a great deal of time all over that area. And her discussions with the new government of Bulgaria, which I participated in, should have been recorded. I mean, they were just what an ambassador should be doing, setting up deals for the United States and for United States business. So we spent a day doing that, and I helped her to the extent that I could, but I was in awe of what a great job Kimberly did. And then we flew to Athens. Now, you want to talk about the cradle of Western civilization. Well, of course, even before Rome, it was Athens, right? And one of the legends of Rome is that it was settled by some of the survivors. This is Virgil's Aeneid, because it was settled by some of the survivors of the Trojan War. And so we met with many of the officials of the Greek government, with the ambassador, and the ambassador gave me a birthday party because I was there on the night of my birthday, May 28th, of just a few days ago. And I had a wonderful birthday party at the Greek embassy with my good friend Kimberly Guilfoyle and her chief aide, Christos, who is brilliant. I am an amateur classicist, meaning I don't read and speak Greek. I did study it, but didn't do any good. But I do read Latin, and did study it and did learn it. I used to read it much better, but I still can get by in it. And of course, I've read many of the classics. So to be in Greece and then to get to I'll show you pictures tomorrow of the Acropolis and of the Parthenon and of some of the beautiful churches, the Greek Orthodox churches. It was quite a trip, and it gave me a chance where I could, with the government officials and the people, where I was making speeches, to talk about the fact that Western civilization, which they helped to begin and create, along with, I see the two original pillars of Western civilization as Greek philosophy, Greek literature, Greek life, and Greek democracy. And the chosen people. the Jewish people, the Old Testament, the values and the organizational structure, and the way in which in the first five books, which of course make up the Talmud for Jewish people, and the first 5 books of the Bible for us Christians. But the first 5 books of the Bible, whether you read them literally or you read them as a great example of God's connection to humanity, God's creation of humanity, God's shaping of humanity, God's shaping of a civil society, of a lawful society, of a society that recognizes that we came from one place, not a bunch of sun gods and love gods and killing gods and war gods and sex gods and drinking gods and all that. And as the Greeks are developing without that religion, kind of logically moving in that direction, and as the Jews are with the help and the guidance of Yahweh, we come to Rome, right? Which embraces Greek culture, and you'd have to call it, now that the Romans spread it all over the world with the greatest empire up until that time, a Greco-Roman or Romo-Grecan civilization, which then comes along our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And by the 4th century, Constantine, the great Roman emperor, becomes Christian, moves the capital to Constantinople, and there's the development of the church, both Eastern and Western. Of course, there was the great schism in the 11th century, but that's 1,000 years. 1,000 years of development as a church. And you want to go back to legitimate Christianity. Excuse me for those who might get angry at me, but you tell me how Martin Luther understood Christianity 1,500 years after the apostles and the fathers of the church, and decided that he could take out of James' epistle the notion that you're not saved by faith alone. Remember, Luther said this thing about Acts, you're saved by faith alone. So that kind of doesn't work with the Bible that he says is the sola scriptura. So he took it out. A priest who quits the church and I think marries a nun, I don't know, and who hates Jews, which might be why he eliminated a bunch of the books of the New Testament, Old Testament, which you do not find in the Protestant version of the Bible. You're going to have to get the Catholic version of the Bible. They get like the story of the Maccabees. That's cut out. The Jews are too much heroes in that, aren't they? So this anti-Semitism thing has been going on for a long, long time. And it's plagued us, and I thought it was over. So it was quite a trip. It was extraordinarily educational. And I come back to this tremendous dispute over the Odyssey. So they're going to have a movie out in about 3 or 4 weeks, done by a very famous Hollywood director who I didn't know. He's so famous, but he's supposed to be one of the great directors. All of a sudden,
Remember the name?
why would I remember the name? I mean, all I think is he's like a silly, woke jerk off.
Right.
So I don't know if you know the story of the Odyssey, but you know, it's one of the first things you read if you take ancient history or ancient literature. Or
Nobody. So no American students probably read
well, nowadays you wouldn't read the Odyssey, but the Odyssey, I think, may be one of the, certainly it's the first Greek work ever written. It may very well be one of the first things ever written. And of course, it was a couple of 100 years of oral tradition. But then Homer, the blind Greek poet, after writing the Iliad, which is about the Trojan War, writes this absolutely brilliant poem called the Odyssey. And it's about the travel of Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, trying to get back home to his beloved wife and child. And he runs into problems because of arrogance. the great sin of arrogance. And when he decides on the horse filled with Greek troops to fool the Trojans, the Greeks are defeated by the Trojans after years and years of laying siege to Troy to try to get Helen of Troy back, or Helen, Menelaus's wife, one of the kings of Greece, who was kidnapped by Paris, the prince of Troy. Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world, for which they'll launch 1,000 ships, described by Homer as beautiful, porcelain skin, blonde hair. Helen is kidnapped or voluntarily goes along with Paris to Troy. Menelaus, one of the great kings of Greece, brings all the other kings together. Please put that off. That's a desecration. That's a desecration. That guy is playing Ulysses. I'm going to tell you about this. I mean, this is a desecration of Western civilization. This man shouldn't be allowed to, well, he can be allowed to make movies, but he should go make them in like China, in places that hate Western civilization. So Helen is the most beautiful woman in the world. She has blonde hair. They have the big war. The Greeks get together all their kings from Athens and Sparta and Ithaca, and Ulysses is one of the great warriors. Of course, the greatest of all is Achilles. But the Greeks, no matter what they do, they can't get into Troy. And they finally pretend that they're giving up. And they say they're giving up and leaving and going home. Go back to their ships. And then they say they want to leave in the right spirit because the Trojans didn't kill all of them, let them escape. So it is Ulysses' idea to build a horse, a big, giant horse, and to put the Greeks inside the horse, and let the Trojans let the Trojans take the horse into beyond the gates where they can never get. And if they can get beyond the gates and jump out of the horse at the right time when everybody is sleeping, and then open the gates and let the rest of the Greek army in, they can slaughter all of Troy. It's exactly what happens. They slaughter all of Troy. Ulysses is a great hero. He wins with his wits and his cunning. The most cunning man in the world, he's described as. And now he goes out, and as he's headed home, he announces that he was able to do this without the help of the gods. A little like Adam and Eve, right? I'm greater than God, or as great as God. Well, Zeus doesn't like this very much. And despite the fact that his daughter Athena, who loves not in a sexual way, but sort of like in a godlike way, who loves and looks after Ulysses or Odysseus. So Zeus condemns him. And then Poseidon, Zeus's brother, who is the king of the seas, condemns him. And he's condemned to 20 years of wandering. And I won't go through all the stories, but he has all these great adventures occur, and he is able to survive and get back eventually to Ithaca, kill all his suitors who were trying to take his wife Penelope from him, and kill his son Telemachus, and reclaim his kingdom. That's the story in brief. It's much more complicated, much more beautiful, and one of the greatest works of Western civilization, on which so much else is based. This piece of junk director, what's his name? Get me his name. Oh, come on. You can't get me his name.
Whose name?
The guy who's director of the new...
Oh, Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, right. Christopher Nolan.
I'm curious, Mayor. What did you have?
Well, here's what he does. He casts Helen of Troy with a Ugandan woman. And she's cast twice as Clytemnestra and as Helen of Troy. Why? First of all, even if you used a white woman with blonde hair like Homer describes the woman, why you confuse the audience with Helen having two roles? This thing probably costs $40 million. You can't hire another actress for Clytemnestra? How stupid is that? Then he picks this woman who is a beautiful African woman. But she sure as hell is going to be the most beautiful woman to the Greeks the 10th century over in the BC. And this is a role in which the poet described his character. Now, would they ever suppose we were doing something about Muhammad Ali? You think they put a white actor in for Muhammad Ali? Well, if you're not going to put a white actor in for Muhammad Ali, you're not going to put a black actress in for Helena Troy. It's racist to do that. Then they take Achilles, who makes a minor appearance in the Odyssey. He's a major figure in the Iliad because now he's dead and he's in Hades, which some people think is hell. It's the afterlife. It's the afterlife. And one of the curses, or whatever you want to call it, that Ulysses has to go through in order to get home is he has to go down into Hades and get advice. He has to brave going through the fires and going down to Hades. Hades, Hades. And there he meets his former companion and the great hero of Greece, warrior hero. He was the cunning hero. To ask Achilles what it's like to be here. And basically Achilles says, you wouldn't trade a second of Earth, being on Earth, for this. In other words, that your eternity is there, but it's painful or boring or whatever. So Achilles, you might recall, was played by Brad Pitt in Troy, which is in fact a pretty darn good rendition of Greek history.
Yeah, that was a popular.
This is played by a 5'2" transgender, I guess, female, who now thinks she's a male. There's a reason for that. I mean, it's better than taking a male and having who claims that now he wants to wear a dress, beating up a woman in a boxing match. I mean, it is, or going into a bathroom like in Virginia and raping a girl. I mean, it is better than that. But I mean, what are you joking around, Nolan? This is one of the great works of art. And how about Ulysses leading the men out of the horse in order to destroy Troy? You know what his war cry is that gets them all excited? In Homer, it's 2 pages of a brilliant poem, speech, like Richard III, because maybe the other greatest author is Shakespeare. You know what he says? Follow me. Just like you would expect a silly, woke friend of George Clooney to say, right? Follow me. This is Ulysses. Kirk Douglas played him in the original part. Armand Assante played him in the great miniseries that you should watch. Pretty damn accurate. Armand Assante didn't say, follow me. So this is what's going on in America now. This is America that hates its own civilization. And this is Hollywood, destroying one of the great works of Western civilization, just like they're trying to destroy Western civilization. If it were just one time, it would be, but this is part of a pattern. Christopher Nolan probably isn't smart enough to know that he's just being a pawn of communism, of left-wing nihilism, of Islamic hatred for our civilization, a pawn of all of that coming together. He also doesn't have the discipline to read the damn thing himself, to read the poem itself. Maybe he should have learned a little Greek and tried. It's hard. I tried. But at least if you try, you'll get a flavor that you'll kind of figure out that Odysseus wouldn't say, follow me. And that no Greek could follow him if he did that. Well, in that connection, there's a candidate for governor of California. That race is going to come up. That name is Steyer. Tom Steyer.
He ran for president, right?
Oh yeah, did he really?
Yeah, I think it was such a.
He's a silly.
Did it actually happen or no?
He really is a silly rich guy, who's got nothing to do but make a fool out of himself, which he did the other day by congratulating a transgender male who beat a bunch of women in a big contest in La La Land. You want to show it?
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't know that this individual was still. I thought she was ran out of town and off stage for trying to compete with the women, but lo and behold, here's Tom Steyer.
That I had, despite all the social media drama. So I thought on Instagram Reels, I saw you guys were talking about me and the support that I had, despite all the social media drama. So I found it pretty interesting that you're set on just basically a set choice on where you stand with trans athletes.
I am.
It was nice to just have a straight decision on who you support.
Well, what I always say, and I think I said this to your mom, most people support you 90% of the time, just not the 10% you need them for. If we're going to be on side, then we're on side 100% of the time.
I've been outed so many times over and over, docs where I go to school. So I feel like more safety aspect and not just supporting, but
protecting.
Protection.
I totally.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough.
It's the.
So that guy could be governor of California. 90. Do you know 85% conservatively the American people disagree with you, jackass? So why do you lie like that? Why don't you at least say I have a controversial position? But you got to lie. You lie because you're a Democrat. That's why you lie, because you have no morals. And what about all those women? What chance did they have against someone with male chromosomes? No chance. And where would that man turn out if he ran against men like he should? Last, like they all do, like the swimmer who was 450th among men and then became the swimming champion of women. Right? Would you stop this? This is insane. God created men and women. That's what we got, men and women. And when I as a male think I'm a woman, I got a problem that you better help me with.
Yeah, mental.
Like a doctor, got to help me, not try to make 500 grand off me by chopping my genitals off, but try to help me realize who I really am. It's kind of like my walking around saying I'm George Washington. I'm George Washington. I'm a woman. Both things are completely devoid of reality. And when your mind is devoid of reality, you got a mental illness. And driving these people the way they do ends up with more suicides. Almost every European country has come to that conclusion. And we are being prevented from coming in that conclusion by creeps like that Steyer. By miserable creeps like that. Ambitious jackasses. And he could be governor of California. Who knows? I mean, the one they have now can't do much worse than Newsom, who loves Xi Jinping, who's killed more of his own people than a human being on earth. And he gives them a parade, and he forces the Chinese people to be in the parade to cheer for the guy who's killed more of their people than anybody on earth. That's Newsom, Poosum, Jerkoff. May 28th, there was a gigantic sonic boom. Center of it was in South Carolina, St. Andrews over Richmond County, but it reverberated all up to North Carolina and elsewhere. And it really shook people up. And they couldn't find they still can't find an absolute reason for it. They have ruled out a meteor, and they've ruled out. Well, the speculation is that it was a military aircraft. You'll get a sonic boom if you go if you go beyond the speed of sound. You'll create sonic booms. That's why when the Concorde used to take off from New York, it flew normally until it got out a little bit over the Atlantic. And then when it got out over the Atlantic, it went like this. Let me see. So it would take off. It would take off from Kennedy. And then now we're over the Atlantic about maybe 3, 4, or 5 miles out. And then all over the Atlantic, there'd be the waves. And I took it a few times. It was fascinating. Like a rocket going up. It goes up like this. And then all of a sudden, you're up above 50,000 feet and going beyond the speed of sound. But it doesn't have any effect up there. And not only that, nothing happens. There's no wind up there. You go 2.5, 3 hours without any shaking in the plane. Then you get close to London, you get close to Paris, and boom, you come down and you land like you land. I don't know if you land like a regular plane. You may not. I'm not sure if you land like a regular plane. So let's just recap what's going on in Iran, because it is kind of confusing, to say the least, Ted.
Right, and there's more coming up every hour.
So now, the latest I have is the following. So we'll go in backwards order. Iran has said it is no longer talking or meeting because Israel is attacking Lebanon, really because Israel is doing a job on Hezbollah. Give them a little more time and there won't be any more Hezbollah. And therefore, they're not going to talk until Israel stops attacking there. And they're not going to give up the Strait of Hormuz. They're going to want to control it. And they're certainly not going to let America do it. And they're not meeting. The president during that period of time was saying that we're having constructive meetings. Now the president has talked to Bibi, and Bibi has agreed, they say, to stop attacking Hezbollah. And that's been communicated to Iran. So theoretically, so that now we can start talking again, because Iran was complaining about this. So the real question is, what has happened since then? That was about an hour ago.
Right. So Israel, I'm trying to get the timing on this. This must have been before this most recent announcement. I think you're familiar with this. Israel had hit Beirut.
Well, what I left out of the introduction of this was in the last 48 hours, the United States has bombed radar stations and drone facilities right on the Gulf of the Straits of Hormuz, and they've taken them out. Boom, gone. Iran struck back, but they struck Kuwait. They struck our base in Kuwait. They hit nothing. Some shrapnel got through, and it did injure minor injuries to some of our personnel. No major injuries, no deaths. And if we ever conducted an attack like that, they'd make fun of us for having an army like Putin's. And then, of course, for the last 3 or 4 days, Israel has pounded the living daylights out of Hezbollah, even moved the line up about 10 miles, and asserting more authority in Lebanon to keep Hezbollah away. Ultimate goal, to destroy Hezbollah. Iran can't accept that, because the only thing Iran has left is whatever is left of the IRGC, and they're getting bombed here and there. And if Trump ever wanted to, 2 days of bombing and there'd be no IRGC. So the only thing he's got left to fight for him is Hezbollah. Now, there's not much left. I would say if half of Hezbollah is around, it's a lot. But Bibi doesn't want to leave any of it. It would take away their last proxy. Although they are trying to pull the Houthis out of the hat down in Yemen, who now are threatening to block the Red Sea. And the answer to that should be to get rid of the Houthis. like no more Houthis. If there are no more Houthis, they can't block the Red Sea. And we came pretty close to getting rid of the Houthis before. Saudi Arabia tried to get rid of the Houthis. The Houthis want to kill Israel and destroy everything. Wouldn't be a bad idea to answer that one by saying, we're not going to wait for them to block the Red Sea. We're going to get rid of them, which we should do, or Israel could do it. And at least my advice, which is not worth very much, is that Bibi should finish the job with Hezbollah. Let's get rid of them and see what Iran can do without Hezbollah and the Houthis. Let's get rid of both of them. And we have every justification for doing it under the just war theory of St. Augustine of Hippo and Thomas Aquinas. These people have for years been praying to kill us, swearing to kill us, vowing to kill us, and killing us. We've allowed acts of war to take place against us that were intolerable, including killing American Marines, downing American ships. We don't respond. Okay, let's respond now. Why? To protect our own people. We shouldn't let this go on into another generation. We fought this now. We brought it to a conclusion. Let's bring it to a conclusion, not to one of these South Korea, North Korea. It all started with that. We don't need another South Korea, North Korea peace agreement, because it would be a lot worse. I mean, these people don't tell the truth about anything. Even the contemplation of an agreement with them is farcical. So anything new happened? Are we meeting again?
We're trying to get
meeting to what? Reach an agreement that we shouldn't sign?
Right. The president, and I want to say this was around 6 p.m. The president gave us an update. He has spoken to Bibi, and Bibi Netanyahu has agreed to turn Israeli troops around.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Let's put up the.
Let me see them walking the other way. I do not believe the.
This is the president around 6 p.m. tonight. I had a conversation with Bibi Netanyahu today, asking him not to go into a major raid of Beirut, Lebanon. He turned his troops around. Thank you, Bibi. I also had a conversation with representatives of the leaders of Hezbollah, and they agreed to stop shooting at Israel and its soldiers. Likewise, Israel agreed to stop shooting at them, but see how long it lasts. Hopefully for
what? For what?
It will be for eternity.
Well, Mr. President, I love you, have tremendous respect for you, and I'm sure you're going to come out right on this. But it's not going to last for eternity. I'll give it about 2 days if they're not shooting at each other right now. I'm lying to you. But in any event, let me finish out about this sonic boom. So on Saturday at 2:06 p.m., there was a big sonic boom over New Hampshire and Massachusetts. I don't know if I have a map of it. I don't know. I don't think you can take one from here with what we have available.
What do we want to map?
Well, it's a map that just shows that 10 miles from Sandwich, Massachusetts, 17 miles from good old famous Plymouth Rock, and 15 miles from Provincetown, Rhode Island, there was a massive sonic boom. The thing was moving. The meteor was moving at 42,000 miles per hour. It was 5.6 metric tons. Can you believe that?
Where did it land?
It landed in Cape Cod Bay.
Wow.
And they think they can recover it.
Wow.
Yeah, but this was definitely a meteor.
That's interesting.
So the first one, they've actually ruled out a meteor. They think it was a military aircraft, but one would think you'd have coordinates on the military aircraft, and therefore you would know for sure, right, Ted? Right?
Yeah,
But-
they'd be able to qualify.
So I think that one still remains a mystery. But
Some video.
this was a big one. I think it's kind of interesting how close it was to Plymouth Rock. I don't know what. With the 250th anniversary.
Let's see if we can hear it.
Oh, you got audio?
Can you imagine hearing that? It sounds like you're in Iran or Israel or something, right? The dog's hiding under the... All right, boys, get to work. I don't blame you.
That's where the sightings were. At least when people heard it.
Yeah.
From all over.
Oh, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York,
Where the heck? What time was it?
all the way up in Maine and Ottawa.
I didn't see it. I didn't hear it.
We were on Long Island.
We gotta get everyone over to Dr. Maria.
It was yesterday when we were up here.
Oh, we must have been in the car or something. Didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
Yeah. That's
I hate when
strange.
we miss out on stuff like that. You
Isn't
know?
that
I
strange?
don't like it when we like to.
We were here in New York.
Well, if you're in a car, you will miss a lot of noise because there's an ambient sound.
We were probably talking so much we couldn't hear it. We're talking so much we can't hear it.
There's so much to
Now,
talk
do
about.
we have the thing to end up with? A lesbian Unitarian minister
Oh gosh.
has canceled the 4th of July.
Oh god.
I just would like to say to the Unitarian minister that you didn't create the 4th of July. You don't get to cancel it.
What the hell? Yeah.
I always get nervous when I see those pride flags in front of Christian churches.
Is that her?
But there is a question. Now, here I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. Isn't there a question as to whether the Unitarian Church is
Okay,
Christian?
I'm glad you said it. I wasn't sure if that was appropriate. We had a Unitarian church in my neck of the woods.
The Second Congregational Meeting House, Unitarian Universal, will not produce or host the annual 4th of July Declaration of Independence Bill of Rights this year. I think because of Trump.
Yeah, they can say what they want, but we all know the real reason. We know what's going on.
The real reason is they hate us, and they're probably communists. So we're going to let you go over to Dr. Maria now, because she's got a great show, and she has one of the candidates for governor of.
Steve Hilton.
She's got one of the candidates for governor of California, who I favor, and he's one of the top 3. But I'll let her describe that. And then tomorrow we'll come back with before we make an accusation like the Unitarian Church really isn't Christian. We'll do some analysis of that. So let's put that on suspense, because I think it's a little more complex than that. But this minister is not doing any good for the Universalist Church by canceling the 4th of July. The 4th of July has nothing to do with who the president is. And by the way, Madam Minister, the president is a much better American than you are. I'm not going to say what I was about to say.
Hopefully she'll lose her
So
followers.
let's pray. Let's pray for the people of Iran. Let's pray for the people of the Ukraine. Let's pray for the people of Israel. Let's pray for all the people from the countries I just came from, because I got a chance to go to Mass in the Vatican for the Italians who need help always. I mean, because they're great people, but they always need help. You all need help. Let's pray for the Bulgarians. They're really wonderful, wonderful people. They also need help, and the Greeks need help. And of course, Americans need help. We always need your help. We need your guidance. Our president needs your help, although he's doing a wonderful job. And I got to tell you, he's a lot more popular than the European press would like to say. I had any number of people in all 3 places saying to me, I wish we had a leader like that who put our country first. Huh. And let's pray for the lesbian minister too, that she regains whatever element of Christianity the Unitarian Church has. And let's leave it for another day to analyze Unitarian Church. We'll do it first thing tomorrow. I'll be right on top of it right now. So God bless you. And mostly, go over to Dr. Maria now. But first, what do we say? God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply